You got me today. Morning. Morning, everyone. So, I'm doing the class today because, we have some classes this evening. Mine is not here. Lucien's, he's tied up. So, anyways, we're going to go through the warm-ups. Hopefully, we have a pretty good following today. Some of the kids that have been doing it, hopefully, we can get through all of the different fundamentals and basics. So we're going to start off with the first exercise, hands up like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, and stop. Then to the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay. Hands up. Reach down. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Center. Inhale. Exhale. First up. Reach down. 2, 3, to your right, to your left, to your center, lifting up, inhale, exhale. Okay, next, one more time, hands up, reach down, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and center, lift up, and exhale. Okay, now, hands on your waist, circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Lucian, can you bring the camera later? 9, yeah, 10, and stop. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, and stop. Okay, now cross. Hold your knees. Circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Okay. Hands on your waist. Neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center, back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center, tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center, rotating. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center. Hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, spread your feet. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay, we're going to stretch it out. Switch. 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 Straighten the front knee. Stretch out the back of the leg over here. We need to do this because it helps our stances and helps our kicks in order to develop some lower body flexibility. So we can press, keep the knee straight, relax the hip, keep the back as straight as possible. Don't just try to bring your forehead to your shin, just keep your back straight and fold as deeply as you can. And we'll go back to center, reach down, and we can squat down like this. Okay, shake that out. Hands up. Pull an inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Hands on your waist. Okay. Punching. Let's start with the right side. And switch. To the side. And center. Switch. Center. Okay, hands here. Alternate the shoulders. And center. Okay, edge of the hand. So it's bottom of the hand over here. So every movement is a strike in a direction. And it's also using the surfaces of the fist, so depending on the bottom of the hand, the back of the fist, the front of the knuckles, it depends on the striking surface. And I'll explain that to you in a second. So there's the edge of the hand. And then we have a circular movement called the wheel punch or Cheurng Kuen. And the back fist. Switch. And center. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so surface of the hand, the palm for palm strikes. Okay, heel of the palm. Palm strikes, horizontal strikes, they're like this, whether it's side to side or forward and back. Fingertips, poking. Phoenix eye, fist, individual knuckle, striking, striking. Front of the fist, flat punch. Sun punch. Okay. Bottom of the hand, edge of the hand. Back of the fist, back fist, shoulder level. Lower, corner back fist. Upper back fist to the face. Okay? Bottom of the hand, diagonal strikes. Okay? Bottom of the hand. Back of the hand, water punch. Water punch. Okay, so they actually go with stances, but I'm just describing the surface of the hand. Drunken fist. Here. Using, this is called the eye of the fist. Striking. Drunken fist, like this. So that's using that surface. These knuckles, leopard. So that's a leopard. Tiger claw or dragon claw is a clawing movement. Okay? Chun kill. Index fingers, straight, curl your knuckles, thumb tucked in, sometimes like this, sometimes like this. Okay. Tiger's mouth. For grabbing. Third form, grabbing. So these are the ways you shape the hands to do certain task, functionality. Now when we strike, when we think of the back of the hand, that's a focus point of the fist. But the movements themselves incorporates the total arm. So when we say hand movements, we really mean arm movements. When we speak of the feet, we really mean the legs. So that's something that's, so we have to understand that footwork works with the legs, but we call them footwork because it incorporates the lower extremities. Hand techniques describes the hand movement, but it's really the arm movement. And then torso movement is your body. Your body is the waist, it's your chest, it's your back, it's your shoulders. All of that involves the upper body. Okay, so then, that's working with the sort of your anatomy and which parts of your body are being used. So when you're first learning Kung Fu and you're doing these movements, the only thing you focus on is a punch and a block. But actually when we work with Kung Fu, it's really the whole body. And the whole body is used to create postures or positions. So we can go through that in a little while. Horse stance, footwork, right? 1, 2, 3.5, down. Then we punch. Flat punch, that's this punch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fold, that's closing. Before, that's the sun punch, okay? Low block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Extend, close. So movement is actually one of each of these. Okay, now middle block is in front of the shoulder on this side, in front of the shoulder on this side. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Extend, fold. Whoops. So that's gotten away. Okay, so that's folding. So it's going to hit there again. Okay, be careful with that. Okay, ready? High block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's right on your center line. This is the blocking arm. So when we say high block, we're using upper forearm. 2, 3, 4. So that's the edge of the hand. Edge of the hand. A few more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, extend. Now all three. 1, 2, 3. That's low, middle, and high. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Extend. Close. Okay, now low block punch. 1, 2. That's press. 3, 4, 5. So when here, that's a low block. That's a position, low. Could be like this. It could be like this, depending how we approach it, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now close. 2 hands up. Middle block punch. 1, 2, 3. Middle. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and close. Extend. High block punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Close. Okay, push to the side. So the index fingers like this. 1, 2, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Okay, now let's go low. 1, 2, 3. Go high. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go center. Usually these are done in sets of 3. 2, 3. Then extend. That's a fingertip thrust. Palm up. This is curling the hand to a wrist block. So this is a wrist block. Speaking of the wrist, but it's actually your arm. And we close. Okay, and we close. And we shake it out. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So basically, the horse stance is that widened stance with the 4 or 3.5 pivots. And then a horse stance, offset, turns to leaning stance, and you have a ready position. And you have one on the other side. Okay. So ready position, this is in front of the nose. This is by the elbow. and you're ready, forward foot, upper hand, forward foot, upper hand, okay? So we're going to use that stance. I'm going to kick with my left, you're going to kick with your right, and we're going to get into a leaning stance, and we're ready. Now I'm going to punch front leg, and then I'm going to do that, and punch again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do a front kick, and a front kick is lifting the knee, and you kick with the toe. Then we have a heel kick with the heel. So the toe is like the fingertip, the heel is like the palm of your heel. So that's what that's referring to. So this part actually is right behind or in front of the forearm, and the heel is in the bottom. It is an extension of your shin bone. So these are parts of the body that we're using. 1, 2, now front kick. 2, and we have 2 punches and a kick. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so relax, get the movement going. You have 2 punches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now notice I go back to my back stance. 9 and 10. Okay, next I switch. Then a heel kick, you kind of lift it up and kind of push. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're back. Okay? Now we'll switch to the other side, and we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now watch. Here, here, here. So the hands are protecting your sides. We're not doing this and then kick and kick. 1, 2, kick. 1, 2, kick. 1, 2, kick. Okay, so it's important to maintain this, and the balance. And when you control the kick, you have to come back because you're not falling, you have balance, you create accuracy of movement, and the kick goes to the same place every time. Okay, so that's the heel kick. Then we're going to do a straight kick that goes up, and it's a stretch kick. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can go this high or all the way up, depending on how flexible you are. The functionality of the movement is actually doesn't have to go that high, because the higher it goes, the shorter it gets. But for flexibility, it's really for the big stretch. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, switch the other side. So same thing, stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So look at the movement. You're swinging up. So that could be just kicking like that to the shin, and there's your sweep. So when you kick, this one is a pullback. So later on, so that's what that leg does. It kind of glides toward the floor. Okay, now that's the round, the straight kick for flexibility. Now here, 1, 2, 3, knee up. Right. So that's your round kick, and it can go low, middle, or high. We're just going to go about chest level or in the stomach area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so your foot turns out a little bit and hit with the instep, the top of your foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's your round kick. So what you're doing, then this comes up and goes to this area. The thing is, Southern styles don't do a lot of higher kicks. It's for training, but it requires more flexibility. But the thing is, you don't want to kick too high, number of reasons. You're off balance, you're reaching. The maximum is that length at 90 degrees is the maximum. The other thing is you're exposed. You can get kicked in the groin easily the higher you go. And your recovery time is going to be much slower when you lift up. And the thing, if someone moves in on you and you're in this position, you're going to be off balance. So it's not a good thing to do, to kick too high, unless you created the opportunity to use that higher kick to the head. Or if you have extremely fast kicks, then they still can be effective. So, okay, deep breathing, inhale, exhale. Okay, so let's look at the chun kyo. So just in case you haven't discovered by now, most of our forms have a chun kyo on the left side and a punch on the right side. So the reality is that a lot of the traditional stylists or the people that created these forms really block on the left and punch with the right. Because old culture is the dominant side or the strength side would be your right hand. So that's a natural progression to use your right hand as your power stroke. So that's why it's like that. But it doesn't mean that that's the best way, because there's some people that are lefty. But you know, the thing is, you are what you eat and you are how you train. So even though you're lefty, if you're practicing the right side, your right side's going to have the better punch, simply because that's the side you're working. So when we're in this position and we chun kyo this way, when we go this side, it's this. So the fist is always on top. It's always on top. Always on top. So the cross hand position really is a pass-through. So when we set this up, it's really hot kyo, removing. So when I'm here and I draw, and I'm here and I draw, it's really creating that block that's going this way. So if you notice, if I go like this, and I say shoulder level, you can see the forearm, because I say it's a hand technique, but it's your arm. When I go like this, you can see that it's still covering here. It's not like this. A lot of times people do this, but look at the exposure. But the other thing is, if I go like this is how thick my arm is. If I'm blocking something that's coming here, so you have to imagine a punch coming toward me. Unless my hand comes exactly across the height of that punch, I'm not going to bump into it. So how are you going to block? So this would be the blocking surface if that were the case. But when I'm like this, I have this. Now from the frontal area, it looks like I have a whole length of this to intercept anything along this pathway. So when I step back, chun kyo. So you see 1, 2. So that's reversing the stance, reversing the block. But you look at the mirror and you see that when this crosses, the forearm actually is in position to intercept. Now once you intercept, you can grab and pull, you can grab, block, and then hook. So isn't this the type of movement you're learning in the form? A hook is to capture. A hand is to grab. So you have those kind of movements in your forms. So whether you pay attention or not, or just memorize a sequence is one thing. So when you learn a form, first form, 5 stances, they're just strategies in building your movements. So 5 stances works your legs, it works your hands. Some of the movements are inside the forms. In fact, those movements in the 5 stances are from the forms. It's not, just a bunch of movements that we made up simply because we thought they looked good. It's actually movements that we practice to know that this is a chun kyo, that this is a removing, that this is a punch. Okay, this is a corner back fist. This is an upper corner back fist. This is a block. This is a block. This is a punch. This is reversing the stance, depending on which side you're doing. In the form, typically you're here, and then you would either chop or you would go here. So see, there's just setups for positions going forward into something else, depending on what the follow-up is. Because everything's a follow-up. If I punch like this and I punch like that, that's a follow-up to this. If I punch, that's a follow-up to that. But if I punch, and press, then that becomes a block and a conversion to a blocking technique or a stopping movement. Blocking is just avoiding, protecting yourself and avoiding something that's coming into your space. That's all a block is. Blocking is a combination of avoiding, dodging, and deflecting. So that's why we block. That's only to intercept something coming towards you. So you guys play video games, and you have a defensive side and an offensive side. What are you doing? You're trying to hit your target, and then what are you trying to do? Not let the missiles strike you, or you're avoiding. So how do we avoid when we do this? We step. We move one direction, or we move this direction. That's footwork. We turn our body. If I'm like this, big target. I go like this, it's a smaller target because your body's like this. So if you do a combination of turning and moving, then you can avoid. It's as simple as that. That's what we're learning in form. So when we learn hands movement like this, hand movements, bridges. These are actually what we call the bridges. And we open, gung jeet. This is learning to use your strength. We typically don't know how to use our strength. And you say, well, of course we do. We know how to use our strength. What you don't know is how much strength. We all know how to use strength, but most of the time we don't know how much. How much is really the most important part of it. If you use too much, you wasted energy. If it's too much, it's slow. If it's too much, it might not work. So you have to be adaptable. So if you initially start with too much strength, it's going to hinder your movement. So you don't want to use too much strength. You want to learn to use the right amount of strength. And then we can begin, right? So when we do this, it's just a circle, setting up the cross hand, and we go to offset stance. Sliding step punch. Reach behind, and this is drawing, equal opposite, stepping and punch, flat punch, shift, cross stance, corner back fist, turn, point your elbow up, goes to the face, circular movement, step up, punch. Reverse your stance. That's the reverse lean. This is in the second form. We come into the center. This is going to go up. This is a cutting hand, partial cutting hand to a diagonal strike, to a press and an uppercut. And then we're here again. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a reverse lean. Your hips are open in this direction because a full lean is there. The open lean is here. The lift is here, the hop is here, and you chop. Uppercut and close. You go in this direction, so I'm going to count. 1, 2, sliding step. See if you can do it. Punch. After you punch, put your hand behind here and draw. You step through and punch. Now see if it's flat. See if you're in a horse stance. Shift your weight. Scissors stance, cross stance, corner back fist. Turn. Spread your feet a little. Aim high, punch high. Circular movement. So it looks like this, circular movement. Circle and twist. Step, punch. Cross hands, reverse, high block, press down, low. Up, hands here. Flip. See this hand turned over, and we're going to squat down and chop. This goes up, uppercut, and close. Now do the last leg. Let's see if you can do it. 1, chun kill. 2, punch. 3, reach behind, draw. Step through, punch, flat punch, like this. Horse stance. Shift your weight, cross over, twist. So your body twists. Turn, back fist, middle. Okay, so that twist is something that's a little tricky. It's the toe and the heel. Otherwise, you won't be offset. See what I mean? When you cross over, if you spin the ball of the foot, two of them, your feet end up like this. You're heading this way. When you cross over, you have to spin like this. Now you're heading this way. So then you end up with the back fist to the face. Now after the back fist to the face, I'm like this. I turn, but I have to spin, shift the weight back this way, step, punch. Okay, now you're in a cat stance. Put it here. Set up your stance and lean. Come all the way to here, up. Then this is going to turn. Now you have to sit down on this foot and chop. By the time you sit here, this should have finished. And then take it from the bottom and lift up like this. Then we close. Okay, so that's something that you should practice regularly. Not just to practice the stances, but the timing, the position, the technique that's involved in those. So we go through them once in class so that we can review them, but it's up to you to do them. You can focus on one thing at a time. Don't focus on every little thing that we run through in a class, because you really won't get enough practice for one single thing. You have to practice each thing so that you get that one thing. You just can't do all 10 things and think they're all going to end up the same. If you did it the whole thing 10 times, then you'd have to do it another 10 to get the full benefit. But if you practice one thing like this, over and over again, you could do 50 of those. And then after 50, you start to know that. Do it on the other side, another 50. Then you start to know that. Because once you know it, then you can sort of have that happen every time you get into a stance, and then you can progress that way. If you run through it and it's always not there, then that's how it's going to be. Because we're creatures of habit. When we do something over and over again, certain things happen. By doing it over and over again and trying really hard at doing it each time, what ends up happening is your body and your brain starts to figure out which one is the correct way of doing it. If you just kind of run through the motions, not only are you confused, but your brain's confused. And if your brain's confused, your body definitely is not going to follow up on it. Because your body doesn't know what to do simply because your brain is the boss. It tells your body what to do. It's the director. So if the brain is not taking in the correct information because you're not taking the information in correctly, then it's going to affect how you perform and how you understand all of what we're doing. So we have our forms, we have our techniques, we have our drills, we have our exercises. All of those things have to be, worked on to reach a level of, I'd say, perfection or approach perfection. Perfection's really pretty far-reaching, especially in the beginning. But you should at least have to get the idea of the warm-ups down so you have a good foundation for everything that we're doing, because fundamentals are the most important aspect of the training. So if you don't have a good flat punch when you're in horse stance, how is it going to happen that you go through your forms and have a good punch? It's not going to happen. It's because they're not really separate. They end up, like I was just saying, the body doesn't really know. It's confused. So the whole premise is get a deeper understanding of the approach and then work toward that. And this doesn't just apply to Kung Fu. It applies to everything that you do. It applies to your music, if you're doing music, or your instrument. It's all about how much you practice the fundamentals and understanding what you're trying to do. Now, with form, it's about the look. How does it look when I do it? With instruments, it's about the sound. How does that song sound? How does the music sound? How does your instrument, produce the sound that it's supposed to? It's really tied to you, your body, your breathing, your control, all of this stuff. It applies to this, it applies to singing, it applies to everything, because all of these things that we're talking about requires a motor skill. It requires muscular control. So without the control, you're going to get bad results, and that's just the fact of the matter. There's no way of getting around that. Okay, now in the salute, we have this. We have this. So I'm going to use the mirror because I think that's more helpful. As we come to here, and I go like this, you see your middle block. Now that's just the right side. What about the left side? What about the right side? So we'll go back and forth. So what is that? That's your middle block. Why is it here and not here? I just explained something about this. Right? So you can see the form has to come across. Now this is the same thing, but going the opposite way. This is going this way. This is going this way. And it goes to your center. When we bend our knees and we turn like this, it's actually going to that corner. Then we step up, and then this goes to here. And this goes to here. All right? So it happens when we square our torso to the front. Then we make a fist. Then we step back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So when I did that, you could recognize the positions, and then you can see that there's a consistency. When my hand goes here, that's probably the same place it goes all the time. That's called muscle memory. Because I've been doing this for a while, I would know, my body knows this. It goes there. That's what you have to do. When I go like this, it knows that. So just look at the picture on the screen, which is the mirror, and I'm here. Does that look like it happened exactly the same each time? Pretty close. We don't have some kind of advanced camera that can stop it in thousandths of a second or milliseconds to see if it's really exactly alike, but it's pretty close for the human eye to see. So the thing is, that's what we're trying to achieve, right? So then when we bend and we go like this, we have the high block, and then we have the low. We have the twist stance and the dragon. The setup for chun kill. Scoop. Okay? Remember chun kill and scoop? Well, that's the follow-up to that block. Uppercut. Here, remove. Step and punch. Right? Squat down. Uppercut. Remove. And punch. Cat stance. Okay, blocking to the side. Fist. Go back. Strike to the front. Okay, so your hand should be one line. Remove high. Goes up. Step forward. Punch. This hand goes here. punch. Okay? Then we go down again. 1, 2. Draw back and punch with the sliding step. Cutting hand, cross. Now I cross to lift to here, cut to open here, and palm strike. Okay? So you notice from the elbow up position, I'm bringing it to the outside, and I end up here. Now, opening is cutting. Double palm. Remember I said the palm is the heel of the palm? It's shoulder width or as wide as your hips. Hands here, remove, step forward, and punch. Okay? Now, next move, we're going to have an elbow, so that's drawing, elbow, back fist, and a palm. Okay, so that would happen if I punched here. 1, 2, 3. 3. See the feet, the elbow, and the hand. Back fist to the corner, so they separate. 1, 2, 3. There's your palm strike. It's a vertical palm. It's not here. It's here. Center line. Sternum. Knee. Okay, now I'm going to turn to high block. So we're here. I'm going to shift like this. Crescent kick. This foot's going to switch. Step down. Press. This hand goes like this. Trap. Move through your center. 1, 2, 3. Put your hand here. Remove. Step forward. Punch. Okay, then you change directions. Chun Kyo again. So we can go like this. And we're to the side. Right? Same thing happens. If I put it here and I step backwards. Chun Kyo. So the slide and palm strike to the waist. This is a front view. Hook. Sit back. Press. Lift this knee. Kick. Stepping forward. Punch. Cross. Dragon. Center. Step back. Open. Chun Kyo, right? Sliding step. Punch. Turn. Cat stance. Suspended. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. So you have a space between your feet, just about like that, about 3 inches apart. So I just broke the form down to you so you have a better idea that when you go through your forms, don't rush through them. Your body only gets confused. Sequential memory is one thing. Execution is another thing. You have to work the movements to produce a better execution, because better execution actually will help you evolve and become better. Having a better memory doesn't help your Kung Fu. Good memory comes and evolves with getting more familiar with what you're learning. If you're not familiar with what you're learning and you're learning a lot of unfamiliar things, what happens? You just get bored and confused is what it is. But if you have an objective and a goal with your practice to become better, become smarter, become all of the stuff that we're talking about efficiently, transitions being better, better timing, better accuracy of movement, all of this stuff plays into, how the movements look and how you progress. So nobody wants to learn something and not really learn it or not progress, because there's no benefit to that. The benefit to advancing and evolving is one of two things: becoming more skillful, becoming more intelligent, smarter about it, and all that ties into being better. That's bottom line. As humans, our goals and objective is to be better, smarter, more advanced. That's how cultures and societies had advanced, to become smarter, better, and improve. Innovation. That's all part of the human mind, because we can think, and thinking helps us evolve and become better. So I'm addressing this to mainly the kids that are doing it, but also it applies to adults too. We all try to be better at what we do, evolve, and hope to get the best or the most you can get out of whatever thing you're doing, whether it's a skill in something that's computers, or it could be a skill in a craft. It could be whatever it is. It could be woodworking. It could be a number of different things. I do practice kungfu as as something I've been passionate about because of understanding and taking it to a different level of thought. I like to talk about kungfu on its mechanical level, of its benefits for health, among all the other things that is tied to it. Age-related degeneration, these are all things that I associate with the practice. Fitness is one thing, health-wise is another thing, martial application is another thing, science is another thing. So it's all tied together, and using that as a vehicle to self-cultivate, to become a person that has insight and depth of knowledge and understanding. So that's one of the reasons why I've been doing this so long, because there is, to me, something beyond and deeper than is on the surface. So anyone that learns from me knows that I talk along about a lot on these levels, because, as humans, we want to be better all the time, regardless of what it is. And really, that old adage that you never stop learning, that's something that's really true, because I continue to learn, I continually evolve, and I don't just apply all my energies and thoughts to this, but I apply it in many other facets of life, whether it's relationships, or even some of the craft things that I do. I'm actually a pretty skillful woodworker, so I do a lot of that type of thing. I build cabinets and furniture and that type of thing, because I like to work with my hands, and I'm pretty fascinated with how things are put together. But that's just something that I've always been interested in, and it really takes a physical skill as well as a mental understanding about how to use your body functionally and creating things. So creating things is one of the things that give you the most satisfaction as results. So in martial arts, you create what? Create good form, good body form, good coordination. All these things all come into play. But form and function, if you're an artist, if you're a craftsman or craftswoman, or whatever you make, that's the result of what you've put together. So that's something that you learn. Now, fundamentally, we have a lot of things that we have to work on. So the fundamental thing on the lower half of the body is the footwork. When we turn, that takes us into a position before we can step. So between the leaning and the horse and the cat stance or the reverse stance, these are all transitions. We typically kind of just step through and plop our foot down. That's really not a good transition. Transition is shifting your weight, controlling your weight, because you control your weight, you control your center. You control your center of mass, you control your balance, you control where you're going with it, and you can control the amount of power you can create from the foundation of your stance. So that's why fundamentals are so important. When you sit here in the fourth form and you go like this, and you sit, the hand, leg, and the palm have to go together, right? When I do the second form and I'm here and I chop and I scoop, I press, when I kick and punch, that's part of the timing, all right? When I'm here and I do this, you have this in the 5 stances drills, right? After you do this and you do this, that's the movement. So don't think that that movement and what's happening in the form are 2 separate, completely different things. The sequential order is slightly different, or it is different, but the actual transition for this and this is the same. So we learn all these little components of movements, and then that's how you progress. Because as you start to learn all these little transitions that's housed up here, then your body will start to cross-reference those. That's what cross-training does when you play different sports. When you learn to maneuver your hand, it becomes something that you recognize. The hand is here. I go to a cat stance and I execute by throwing that punch. And that's the technique. That's a single technique, but can you get your timing, perfect that timing, and get the idea that I'm here, but did I use my leg? Did I sink? Did I turn my torso? Did I line up this so that it's 1, 2, 3, 4? All those alignments, the position, the accuracy of the position, has to do with what you understand and what you're trying to practice. So that's what a teacher's responsibility is. So as a teacher, I explain these to you. So I give you the advice. I can only advise you in doing it. It's up to you to pick up the strategy and do it. And if you can do it, then my job has been done. And if you can do it, your job has been done, because your job is to take it, understand it, and reproduce it the way it's supposed to be. And that's what forms are. As a traditional sport and a traditional art, that's what teachers do. They pass it down to the next generation. The next generation takes it. Some people take it, and everyone's different, so it takes it in different ways. But the people that are passionate about learning, martial arts, kung fu, stylistically, we do the Lam family Hung Kuen. At the same time, it's part of your responsibility, if you like it, to practice and become good with it. And then someday, if you're at a level that you can teach, you'll pass it on to the next generation. That's just, how things are passed down and how things are preserved. So one of the missions that we have, or at least I have, is to promote and preserve traditional martial arts, and as contained as possible without actually changing the basic format. But the ideas will change, and your evolution and evolving of your execution will change. And that's why people look so different. Now, let me see. So we're pretty close to the time. We only worked on the first form, but there's so much material to understand, not just learning a lot of sequence, that if you can start to understand that, then you're going to focus a little bit more on each and everything that you do and begin to get something else out of it beside, a sweat and a physical exercise. It's a mental mind-body connection. So if you like this content, revisit it, subscribe, go to the internet, YouTube, subscribe to it, share it with your friends, and hopefully we'll see you. We have a new thing that's on our website. It's called the Patreon. Roger, a few people have supported us in that way, and that's mainly because as a brick and mortar school, the return on students has been really a disaster because of the pandemic. Only about 20% of the people have returned. Everybody is still outside waiting, and there's a level of uncertainty. There's a lot of things going on right now that's affected any of the fitness places, the gyms, restaurants, everything. It's been it's pretty hard for most of us in the small business world. But I do this because if I didn't do this in the streaming and trying to maintain this level of teaching, this would just go away. This would just die. So the thing is, the Patreon is a way of supporting us through some type of a membership. It ranges from very, very little to people that are a little bit more generous, but this is still all voluntary. You're not forced to do this. but it's just something we ask for some support. If you're able to do it, that's fine. We appreciate it, and hopefully it's a give and take, because I give out this information for you to benefit, and if you do, that's part of my goal. So I'll see you next time. We're going to be streaming some tonight, and tomorrow we got cameras set up in this room, set up in that room. It's stuff that happens morning and night, and you're welcome to follow that any time of the day. Okay, talk to you later.